Please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by firefighter Regina Wilson.
Detail, hand salute.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming. Then the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ready, two.
Thank you, Regina. Please remain standing while FDNY Chaplain Reverend Stephen Harding delivers the invocation.
Almighty God, you see us gathered before you and with each other to honor and remember the members of our department who have died in this past year. We give you thanks for their lives, for all they have accomplished, for the people whose lives they touched, and we grieve that they were taken so soon. May they now be with you in heaven, and we ask that they may rest in peace. We ask too, Lord, that you be with their families as they continue their lives without those they love. Support them in their loss. And we thank you for their strength and their courage. We also ask that you be, Lord, with those who worked with them, with the members of their stations, the members of Ladder 165 and the fire marshals, as they continue to support these families and each other. Lord, you know the bonds of love and affection that exist between the members of this department, that unite us one to another and the living to the dead. We remember and give you thanks for those who we honor this day, and we give you thanks, too, for all our members who have died in the service of this department. We ask that they rest in peace and that you be with us now as we give thanks and remember our own. This we ask in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Harding. We will now conduct the laying of the wreaths. As a mark of respect, I will ask all members of the dais to please remain standing and face the monument. Will the families also please remain standing? There are 3 wreaths being laid. These wreaths are laid in honor of our fallen members. 1 wreath is in honor of our deceased members of the fire service. 1 wreath honors our deceased members of the emergency medical service. And 1 wreath is representative of the department as a whole. Let us bow our heads and observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Our ceremonial officer will now escort members of the dais back to their seats. Will everyone please be seated?
Detail at ease.
Once again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Galla. I'm the Chief of Personnel, and I'm honored to be the Master of Ceremonies today. On behalf of Mayor Bloomberg, Fire Commissioner Cassano, Chief of Department Kilduff, other members of the Fire Department executive staff, and union officials, I'd like to welcome you all to the annual Fire Department Memorial Service. It is now my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, the Mayor of the City of New York, the Honorable Michael Bloomberg.
Chief, thank you. Commissioner Cassano, Chief Kilduff, distinguished guests, men and women of the FDNY. Good morning to everyone. This is a day for remembrance, but also for renewal. It was 100 years ago that this imposing memorial was dedicated, and for a century it's been our city's monument to our bravest, those on the front lines in what its inscription calls a war that never ends. In that spirit, we've just placed a wreath here in memory of 10 FDNY members lost to us during the last 12 months, including 3 who took part in the rescue and recovery operations at the World Trade Center site after 9/11 and who then succumbed to illness. They and you embody a long and proud heritage, a tradition of valor that has earned them and you the undying respect and admiration of the people of this city. So even as our hearts are once again heavy with sorrow as we remember their passing and those that we honor, we're also filled with pride as we recall their unflinching readiness to put themselves in harm's way, to bravely risk their own safety so that others might live. And it's because of them, and it's because of all those who proudly wear the uniform of the FDNY, that today this great city is safer from the threat of fire than it has ever been in our history. During the 12-month period ended on June 30th, there were a total of 47 civilian fire fatalities in our city. That is the lowest number ever recorded, even as our city's population has also hit an all-time high and continued climbing. And that's all the more noteworthy because just a year ago this month, the FDNY also confronted the immense challenge posed by the greatest natural disaster ever to strike New York, Hurricane Sandy. Over and over again during these desperate hours, members of this department bravely rescued New Yorkers from rising waters that had trapped them in their homes and their cars, and also showed tremendous skill and compassion in evacuating those who needed to be moved from endangered hospitals or other facilities. That many of you did so even as the storm flooded their own homes and displaced their own families speaks volumes about your extraordinary devotion to duty. Those achievements are a tribute to the FDNY's remarkable recovery from the devastating losses of 9/11. It's a recovery that over these past 12 years has seen us cut by more than half the number of fire fatalities in our city and reduce the number of serious fires by 22% as well. It is a renewal that Commissioner Cassano has been at the heart of. His steadfast leadership and your professionalism and bravery have helped to write one of the brightest chapters in the history of this great department. And the opportunity to have shared these last 12 years with you has been one of the great privileges of my life. I will never feel the pain that you have suffered, and I hope I never do. And figuratively, I speak for 8.4 million people, but let me just speak for my family and for myself. I'm not sure that everybody understands the bravery, the valor, and the sacrifice that this department has made. But over the last 12 years, I, for one, have come to understand it. I will never forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. Our next speaker, our Fire Commissioner, Salvatore Cassano.
Each year, we gather here at the solemn monument and pay our respects to those who left us far too soon. This is an important day of remembrance on our calendar. It speaks to what this department is all about. We are honored to be joined by the families of our fallen members. Your fathers, your sons, and your brothers were more than just friends and colleagues. We relied on them every tour, and they counted on us. The thousands of firefighters, fire marshals, paramedics, and EMTs who have come today, as they do every year, show that the 10 men we remember today were truly a part of our family. That's why this job is so special. In a department that's built on tradition, paying tribute to those who have lost is perhaps our most solemn vow. We will always stand by our families, and we make certain that they know how much their loved one meant to us. No matter their role or rank, every person who wears an FDNY uniform is an important part of our family. That's the way it has always been in this department, and that's the way it always will be. We never forget. And we remember and celebrate our history. This year has been an important one when it comes to celebrating the history of the department. With over 30 centennial celebrations this year, we have seen and heard a great deal about the history of the job. But the most important centennial that we celebrate is for this monument. This memorial behind us stands as a testament to the memory of so many of our members. As the mayor mentioned, the Firemen's Monument was finished and dedicated a century ago during a far different time. But the ideals upon which it was built remained vital to every member of this department, and it still stands true today. It stands for our members who lost their lives in the line of duty, bravely making the supreme sacrifice as they gave all they could to save others. It stands for our members who lost their lives in terrible accidents or due to illness. Heartbreaking moments that remind us all of just how fragile human life can be. And it stands for the growing number of members who have succumbed to illnesses directly related to their work at the World Trade Center. Standing before this monument throughout my career has always been a proud and humbling moment, as I'm sure it is for every one of you that are here today. I'm humbled because this memorial did not come from the department. It came from the grateful people of the city that we serve. This concept was first mentioned in 1908 by Reverend Harry C. Potter as he spoke at the funeral of Deputy Chief Charles Kruger, who had died in a fire on February 14th, 1908 on Canal Street in downtown Manhattan. For 5 years, so many New Yorkers worked hard to make it a reality, donating their time and effort and money to create this tribute to our department. Donations to fund this construction poured in from across the city, some as little as 50 cents. That may not sound like much today, but when you think of that era, think of the school children collecting pennies and realize that people gave their money to honor this department. But they did it to honor those that we've lost, just as all of you do by standing here today. This monument was built by the people we have taken an oath to protect. Their lives and their property are in our hands every single day. 2 marble sculptures on the side of this monument symbolize duty and sacrifice. 2 words that truly define this department. And the inscription on these walls calls our members soldiers in a war that never ends. It has never been more eloquently put than that. The battles we fight never end. Fires, medical emergencies, all types of hazards remain just as they did 100 years ago, and just as they will 100 years from now. But we still fight. We still fight because it's our duty. We fight because there are millions of people in this city who rely on us to keep them safe. And we fight because so many brave members of this department gave their lives to a cause greater than themselves. We owe it to those members that we honor today and to their families to never stop that fight, to never stop working harder and doing more than was done to improve this department. May God bless the memory of all the members of the department who have died in the line of duty and all those of the FDNY who have lost this past year. And may God continue to bless the FDNY.
Thank you, Commissioner Cassano. Our next speaker is our Chief of Department, Edward Kilduff.
Mayor Bloomberg, Commissioner Cassano. Good morning to the families of our honored firefighters, emergency medical technicians, and paramedics, and to the thousands of fire and EMS members assembled here today. It is always an honor to participate in Memorial Day and to remember those in the department who we lost over the past year. There is no greater message to send to the families of the 10 members we honor than to say we value your family members' contributions to the department and that we appreciate the enormous sacrifices you have made. It is our obligation, steeped in tradition, to support you and to ensure that you remain a part of the FDNY. The strength of the FDNY has always been rooted in its members and the passion and dedication they demonstrate in carrying out their duties. As we stand side by side as one department, it is important to recognize the sacrifices made by every member of the department who is memorialized by this monument. Over our long careers, whether active or now retired, we have all experienced the tragedy of losing a colleague. Memorial Day not only brings us together to remember, but also sharpens our focus on the job at hand. You call, we come. Our job is to be ready to respond and to respond. The risk we take and the services we provide may seem routine to many, but we understand that maintaining order in the city requires a well-trained and knowledgeable workforce. Through new technology, extensive training, and a team-oriented concept, we bring comfort, compassion, and order to thousands of New Yorkers who need our assistance every day. The quality of our people and their expectations from leadership provide the incentive that allows new ideas and procedures to be implemented that addresses the demands of a dynamic city. For the first time in 5 years, we are joined by a new class of firefighters, soon to be 2, as well as many newly hired EMTs. Our job together is to be mindful of the public we serve and to be a major contributor to the quality of life and well-being of the city. The tradition of service and bravery continues to pass down from generation to generation. Many firefighting techniques and pre-hospital care practices are now dictated by science and technology, complemented by the extraordinary experience of our members in the field. Over 1.3 million EMS calls and more than 400,000 fire calls challenge our abilities every day, but there is always one noble constant we can take pride in. When we arrive, all we ask is, how can we help? We are positioned well moving forward as the primary agency that responds to any serious emergency or disruption to city life. We have not stood still as the city evolved from terrorism awareness and mitigation to storm and disaster preparedness and recovery. We responded to the city's call for resiliency, and we are confident the department can now safely operate in any all-hazards environment that threatens its citizens in vulnerable areas. We welcome the broader public safety role for the department, but we always stay focused on our primary mission, protecting life and property. In a little while, we will march before the families of our honored members. Pride and respect will be on display. It will be our chance to acknowledge the service and sacrifice of all our departed members who are memorialized by this beautiful 100-year-old monument. That same pride and respect is at work every day on our fire apparatus and ambulances, and in the eagerness of our members to represent the FDNY. We should all be proud of our profession and find inspiration from the members we honor today to continue being the best that we do every tour. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you for the outstanding loyalty you have shown to the mission of the FDNY.
Thank you, Chief Kilduff. The Emerald Society Pipes and Drums will now play a hymn in tribute to our fallen members. would now invite Fire Department Chaplain Monsignor John Delendick to come forward to deliver the necrology, which is the reading of the names of all active members of the fire and EMS service lost to the department within the past year. We honor their memory and are grateful for all they did while members of this department. As each name is read, a ceremonial officer will present a letter of condolence to each family.
Detail, 10 Hut.
The following members of the New York City Fire Department lost their lives during this past year. EMT Alan B. Gus, Station 43. EMT Michael C. Castellano, Station 58. Paramedic Ruben I. Berrios, Station 20. Fire Marshal Martin J. McHale, Brooklyn Base. Firefighter Charles L. Jones III, Ladder 165. EMT Eladio Lamboy Torres, Station 22. EMT Bernard Brian M. Nolan, Station 40. EMT Thomas S. Loggins, Station 4. EMT Joseph Shiomo, Station 20. EMT Ronald T. Coyne, Station 38. May they rest in peace.
Will everyone please rise for the playing of taps by Captain Thomas Engel and firefighter Anthony Holtz.
Detail, hand salute. Ready, two.
Please remain standing as I invite Fire Department Chaplain Rabbi Joseph Potasnik to deliver the benediction.
I remember as a child going with my father to the cemetery. He would look down at the graves of loved ones and say very simply, "We are here. We didn't forget." And then he would turn to me and say, "Always remember that the real monument is not that which is implanted in the ground. It's the one that's inside your heart." Thus we come here today and we say, even though they are not with us, they are within us. They also taught us that it matters not how much you've taken, but rather how much you've given. Not how much you've saved, but how much you've served. And not how much you've won, but how much you've done. Because the real measure of life is determined not by duration, but rather by donation. And finally, they taught us that the letters FDNY also stand for the Family Department of New York. We are many, we are one. And thus we come here today to hold on to their memory, and as we leave here today, let us continue to hold on to one another. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Potasnik. Please retire the colors. On behalf of Mayor Bloomberg, Fire Commissioner Cassano, and Chief of Department Kilduff, thank you all for attending today's annual Fire Department Memorial Services honoring our fallen members. I will now ask the ceremonial officer to escort the Mayor, Fire Commissioner, Chief of Department, and First Deputy Commissioner to the reviewing stand.